So I like to play with this material, and first of all we need, let's say in general, maybe we can tweak the gradient. So growing up we'll have maybe more brown at the base, and maybe we'll have more different color rising up. To do something like that, we need to pick both, and we can have a UV map modifier, and we'll set it as map number 2, and let's say that is aligned over the y-axis or the z-axis, or maybe directly over the y. So we have this this sides there and the feet, so it will fit on this area for the sides of the map. Then we go there and we say to use the map number 2. Okay. Then we have to rotate by -90, and we say that we'll have more browny color, but darker. Let's say maybe until there, and we can copy this one and paste, and then we can move it. And then we start to have grayish color, and maybe on the top we have again more darker grayish, and this one change really fast, so let's go lower. Okay, so you see we have just mainly some coloring. Let's go to have a little bit of noise with a fractal, so it's not so clear. And let's go down. Okay, maybe this one too can start having less browny and more grayish inside. That's just the basic coloring, but we have to do more because we have to use the composite, but it is obviously not compatible with iRay, so we can start using the mix. Let's use the mix, so we go to keep the old map. Okay, and as second map we start using a noise. Let's go for lower sides. This one, you see this creating some lines over the rock, and it is nice to have this kind of coloring over the map. So we'll mix maybe at 50%, and I like to see what happens over the material. We need to change also the color for the water to be sure that we are working in the right way, because now we have too much blue going all around. And I go to a light, to add a light inside the air to have a little bit of lighting, because we are not able to see what happened. So this one, or maybe before we tweak a little bit the lighting, let's go to have some reflectivity there for the water. So let's go for the moment to have maybe a black color, or maybe we can start with a template there for the water, and let's go for more darker and a little bit bluish color. And then let's go to see more. We have no transparency. Let's get to see. We have to go back to have the lighting, and let's check the illumination coming from the map too. we should have some reflectivity. We can have a little bit more lighting, so let's go to tweak a little bit the exposure. Let's go to 4 for the f-stop. We should have more light visible. Okay, you see that we are starting to have the illumination also on this part of our image. And we can still have a little bit more. In this way it will be nicer to have more light there. Let's say that maybe we have then 3. Let's see if it is too much or not. There I like to have a lot of lighting. Okay, see that we are starting to have a nice illumination, and that's nice and enough to have a right way to illuminate the scene. So let's go to work on the material. So let's save, and we set to off the displacement and the turbo smooth to speed up the rendering. Okay, and let's play with the material there for the rock. So actually we have this noise, but I like to have a little bit of reflectivity with a really high glossiness. Okay, and then we can use the same map we are creating for the diffusion. It can be used also for the reflection to have a different iteration. Let's go to render just a little part. To speed up the lighting process, we can try to go there and set iRay as rendering engine, because we are using standard stuff to illuminate and light. So let's go there and let's say that we use the iRay. And then we can render. So in this way we'll have a faster approach to have a look to the shader, to the material. So let's render a bigger preview. You see, that's a really fast way to work with the material. Okay, so we can start playing to understand if we are doing the right thing over the material. So let's go there. The first one is a gradient ramp, and it should be right. Let's go at 0 there. So we should have just a gradient ramp. Let's remove also the reflectivity. So we have no need to see strange reflection or problem over the mesh. So we have just the material. Okay, so now we have just the coloring. Let's add there this one at 100%. So we should see that this one seems little. So let's go to 60. Okay, and you see that we are starting to see the color variation. Okay, nice. So this one can be mixed at 50%. Let's add some variation. so we can have another mix. Keep all map. The second one will be some maybe little stuff like a cellular. Let's use the fractal, and let's see what happens if we have this one. We should have teeny point. Okay, we got to have less point, so let's change the spread, and this color will be white too, and this one will be maybe a dark gray with a little bit of brown, and it will be more little. So let's go for 6, no adaptive to speed up the render, and let's render again. Now we should have a little bit of brown with some points. Okay, nice. We can mix this one, let's say at 35%. Now we should have the map we had before with some little points. Okay, let's mix again. Keep all map as submap, and this time we add a little bit of greenish around. So let's go for a noise, and we get to have something like let's say a black and a white with a turbulence, bigger area with more clear white area, and we use this one as mix amount, so swoop, and we use there a green color or maybe a noise. So let's go for a noise, and the noise will be a fractal, maybe 15 for a dark green, and maybe another kind of green. So we have some green mixed by this map. That will be a mask. Now we have to see if it is working nice, but to see something like that, let's go to copy this one there, and then we copy this one, so we'll have no mask. We can directly see this map to understand if the placement for this area are nice or not. Okay, maybe it can be more visible, so let's go for white, so we should have more white area. Okay, and it can be a little bit less. Nice. So we can copy again this one there, set to visible, and this one will be back there. So we have the green on some area decided by this map. Nice. So we should maybe add another mix. Keep all map as submap, and this time we go to have a substance, so we'll mix something that will be similar to a rock texture, and we have rock, okay, let's use the second map to project this one. We can use the higher values, so 2 key by 2 key to have an higher resolution, and we should maybe check with more tiles. Okay, something like that. If we go to render, now we see just this map, But we can decide if the map is too much visible. Let's set to 100%, or not so much visible. That's the map. So we can maybe mix at 25%. Let's go to check again. Maybe also more, maybe it can be a little bit more. Let's try with 50%. So you see we have some stratification. Let's see if we have something that can be useful over this map. Let's use a little bit of wetting, and let's use a little bit more contrast so it will be more visible over the map we have. Okay, you see that it is not bad. I like to see what happens if we have a displacement, and to have the displacement over the material, we can go to add a map there, and let's try to use a cellular, and I like to see this one for the scaling, so this one is 100. Let's go for 50. It is cheap, it is fractal, and it has more detail just over one axis. Okay, so we can start to see what happened with the displacement. Let's say that this one is maybe 150 centimeters. It is 1 pixel, and the max subdivision is 4. So we'll have less subdivision for every single face. We are still not able to see it, so we have to tweak a little bit the parameters. And before we continue, I like to go back to have the iRay renderer, and for the moment I like to have no displays, so we'll have the turbo smooth and the displays over the mesh. In the renderer we have the displacement there. We say to use 1 and 150 centimeters, and max subdivision set to 4. And the advanced, we were using the architectural samples. Let's use maybe less bounciness. Let's go for 8. And the hardware, it's okay. So save and render. Okay, you see it is starting to give us the idea about what we are updating. I like to add another pass over the color there. So let's have another mix. And the second layer will be a gradient ramp set as 2 by 90-degree rotation, and let's go to have the tiling but over the other axis, and we go to have there the white, and there we go to have the black. So we'll have more stratification there, but we'll have the noise. The sides will be bigger to have more distortion. Okay, and let's have maybe a little bit more darker. And in this way maybe we can do something different. Maybe we can use this one as an RGB multiplier. So let's go to copy this one there, and this one is there as a copy. Key, oh sorry, I made a mistake. Okay, so now we I have a layer that is more than we need, so let's go to copy this one, discard the old one. Now it should be right. Okay, so now we use there the RGB multiplier, keep hold, and the second map will be this one. Let's go to see the same part there to see if we have the darker area. Okay, you see that we have the darker area, but there are too dark. So let's go to remove this one, delete, and delete, and this one will be just maybe a dark gray, and edit properties, the color. It will be a dark gray, this one too. In the map there, I like to use a color corrector to change a little bit the color, so keep all map, and I like to use a little bit more saturation, and let's go to use a little bit of tinting. And it will be a little bit brighter and with a little bit more contrast. Let's see how it is working. Okay, you see that we have this color, but it will be tweaked in compositing later. And now I like to maybe remove a little bit of red and bluish, so something you see that is going more to a gray color. And save. And now I like to see what happens when we have also the displays to have enough, and I like to have also a little bit of reflectivity. Let's go for 0.3, and maybe we can have this map as reflectivity, so we have just a little bit of reflectivity. And let's go to have maybe 25 to have a little bit more, and let's go to change also the reflectivity to the iRay, and the iRay will be maybe 165, and I like to have the displacement too, but we need more displacement. Let's try with maybe 40. And then we can see how it looks. So render.